What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I got a very special video for you guys because today I'm breaking down my top 10 comic books of 2024. I got them right here. It took me a lot of thinking, a lot of breaking these comic books down, trying to remember what released this year and everything like that. But before I dive into this top 10 list, I want to preface this by saying in order for a book to be qualified for my personal list, it had to have either started in 2024 or very late 2023. So in that case, if a book started in anywhere from October to December in 2023, that means they only have like 3 issues max in 2023 and 12 in 2024. So as long as the vast majority of the book has released in this year or started this year or late last year, it qualifies for my list. Otherwise, probably still an absolutely fantastic book, but the vast majority of the issues have came out in previous years. So that's why if you think, for example, Void Rivals is a book that I absolutely adore. It's one of my favorite ongoings, but it is not in this list because the entire first arc came out last year. So I'm not going to include it in my 2024 list, but the majority of these books started in 2024, but there are 2 or 3 that didn't. But they started in October or later of last year. But now, with that being said, it's time to dive into the top 10. Last thing I'm going to preface is that this is my top 10 favorite comic books of 2024. Not necessarily what I think are critically the best comics. Maybe it's just my opinion. What are my favorite books of 2024? Starting off at number 10, I have Grommets out of Giant Generator, Image Comics, Rick Remender, I'm going to read everyone's name. Rick Remender, Brian Posehn, Brett Parson, and Moreno Denisio. Grommets is absolutely fantastic, man. I believe it's 7 issues total and 6 issues are out so far, so we're only waiting on the finale. And as long as that finale hits, man, this could have possibly even bumped up even higher on my list. Every singular issue has been a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. It's just so much fun. If you grew up at all in the skateboarding scene, or you just were a little bit of a troublemaker as a kid, it's just such a great coming of age story about 2 young teenagers, skateboarders, figuring out their lives through school, through friendships, social scenes and everything like that, family dynamics, all that stuff. It is an amazing book. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm probably going to obviously say whenever I'm talking about these books, I'm probably just going to say they're fantastic, they're amazing, I can't recommend it enough. Obviously, they're my top 10 favorite books of the year. But yes, Grommets was absolutely fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say about it. The next book we're going to move on to is our first Marvel book. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I'll spoil it right now. This is a pretty Marvel and indie dominant top 10 list, which is surprising to me because I'm more of a DC guy. But, so I guess overall, the average book of DC, I think I might like better than Marvel and stuff. But the best Marvel books are the best. Starting off with our first Marvel book for the list at number 9, I got Avengers Twilight. This came out earlier this year. It was a 6-issue miniseries, I believe. But it's Chip Zdarsky, Daniel Acuna, and absolutely gorgeous Alex Ross covers. This was just such an amazing book. It takes our Avengers and our Marvel universe that we know and love and puts them in this post-apocalyptic universe, or not necessarily apocalyptic, but just this dystopian future. And our Avengers are older. They're fighting back against a corrupt government that is taken over by a young James Stark, which is Tony and the Wasp's son. And it's just an awesome story about an older Captain America still standing for what he believes is right and standing up for the America he believes in and that he's from and everything like that, and just fighting against corrupt governments. It's an amazing book. It's got an amazing cast. Chip Zdarsky went absolutely insane on that book. Daniel Acuna's artwork was perfect for this neo-dystopian future, and it left a little bit of an open door at the end with some of the younger heroes. So I really, really, really hope that Chip and Daniel Acuna revisit this universe someday, because Avengers Twilight, it was so unbelievably exciting as it came out, and I really think in the long haul, Avengers Twilight might end up having a similar influence on comic books as DC's Kingdom Come. I think it could be kind of like Marvel's version of Kingdom Come, especially similar in the sense that it's like this dystopian future. But aside from that, just like the impact the book had, for me at least, I think it's very similar to Kingdom Come in that sense. And it's just, it was absolutely fantastic. Like I said before, I really hope they revisit that. But now, off to number 8. My number 8 favorite book of the year, another indie, Image, Ghost Machine. We got Geiger, baby. Geiger is so freaking good. Spoiler warning, this is not my last Ghost Machine book on the list because Ghost Machine is absolutely fantastic. Ghost Machine, for those that don't know, Ghost Machine is a new imprint, which is basically just like a sister company, a company underneath another company, but they're an imprint of Image Comics, Ghost Machine. They're creator-led, creator-owned. Jeff Johns is the main creator who's writing the majority of the stuff and frontlining a lot of stuff, but they've got an unbelievable cast of amazing creators, and their books are just top tier. And Geiger in particular is absolutely fantastic. It's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and Brad Anderson on the colors, Rob Lay on the letters. I just like all these books, I have nothing but good things to say about Geiger. It's so freaking amazing. It follows a man named Tariq Geiger who, without spoiling too much for anyone who hasn't read it, he's basically, they call him the radioactive man. There's basically something that happened to him that caused him to have the ability to basically turn into pure radiation. And so, like, yeah, he'll just melt right through you. He has these rods that keep him non-radiated, pretty much, like kind of thing like that. They like help harness his radiation. But it's an amazing story. It's heartbreaking. It's heartwarming. It's action-packed. The art is absolutely stunning. The colors by Brad Anderson are absolutely beautiful, and the story is amazing. And I guess I will also preface that this is volume 2 of Geiger, but it started this year, and there is a Geiger volume 1 prior that happened in like 2021 or 2022, which is also absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a like you have to read it in order to read this current volume, but I would recommend it because it just adds so much more to it. It adds so much more to the character of Geiger and his backstory and why he's doing what he's doing and all that good stuff. But yes, Geiger, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I cannot wait for more. And there's a character named Nate in it. So, I'm Nate. But now, at number 7, I have a little bit, hear me out, y'all. I'm sorry, but I got a little bit of a cop-out here. At number 7, I have 3 books. But wait, hear me out. It's Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Batman. The reason I'm putting these all here is because it felt wrong not to include them. These 3 books will probably be books that as long as they continue on this same track, I will most likely be including these in my next year's best books of the year in 2025 since they came out so late this year. But basically, my main reason for putting them all together in one spot at number 7 is there's only 2 issues of each. There's not a lot to compare to, especially compared to the books that I have above them. There's just more issues, more substance. They've had more issues to consistently be amazing, if that makes sense. Where Absolute Batman is now, at the time I'm filming this, we are 3 issues in, I guess. And then Wonder Woman and Superman are both 2 issues in, but they are seriously all so fantastic. So you can kind of consider me at my number 7 spot. I'm just kind of putting the new Ultimate Universe because it just kicked off and everything like that. But Absolute Batman is amazing. If I had to rank them, I think they are all genuinely, every single issue of Absolute Universe has been a 10 out of 10 in my eyes. If I had to rank each individual series, I would probably go, issue 3 might have changed things a little bit, but since issue 3 literally just came out, I don't know. And since Superman and Wonder Woman only have 2 issues, I'll preface Batman off 2 issues. If we're doing that, I'm going to put Batman at 1, Superman at 2, and Wonder Woman at 3. That is because just when Absolute Batman issue 1 came out, the shock factor of that, reading that for the first time and just being like, oh my God. What the hell did they just do? This is Batman, but it's not Batman, but it is Batman. And I was just so unbelievably shook. The shock factor was unbelievable. They They started off with an absolute bang, and they have not slowed down whatsoever. Wonder Woman is absolutely fantastic as well. I mean, making her be from hell, that alone just flops everything upside down. Hayden Sherman is killing that artwork as well. But Absolute Superman, I think, especially after issue 3 for Batman, Absolute Superman might be my favorite though. It's just so good, and it's so different. It takes Clark, and he's not even Clark. It takes Kal-El, and he's on Krypton for longer. He didn't come here when he was a baby. He was already like a kid, and he has a life that he remembers on Krypton. Krypton is different. He's not in Kansas. He's not at the Kent farm. He didn't land there. He's in Brazil. He's with the people. He's being oppressed, and he's trying to fight back, and he's trying to help, and he's hopeful. So all these things that are so different about Superman, yet he is still at his core Superman. I absolutely love the Absolute Universe. Absolutely love the Absolute Universe. It's amazing, and that's why it does deserve to be on this list, but I just cannot put him any higher because of the next following. You'll see. Once I tell you what's coming in next, you guys are gonna be like, okay, I understand why Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman couldn't be any higher. But with that being said, we're moving on to number 6, my 6th favorite book of the year. We got The Ultimates. This is amazing, man. Ultimate Universe is fantastic. Marvel hasn't been... Everything I've been saying about the Absolute Universe, Marvel did it first, and that's just the reality of it. And they've been absolutely killing it, man. I mean, the Ultimate Universe, 1 year in, one shot just came out recently, and it was unbelievable. That one shot alone was almost making my top 10 list, and it's just a one shot. So unbelievable. I actually have it right here. Amazing. But The Ultimates is so freaking good. Denise Camp and I'm just gonna say the last name because I'm gonna butcher regardless. Frigeri, I apologize, but Denise Camp and Frigeri are absolutely killing this book. I mean, it's such a unique take on the Avengers. Whether that's just the cast wise, where like Iron Man isn't even Iron Man, he's Iron Lad because his dad was actually Howard Stark was actually Iron Man. I mean, the Hulk is freaking Iron Fist, and like, it's just an unbelievable, cool take on the Avengers, on the Marvel Universe. The stakes are amazing. The pacing is fantastic. I'm truly, like, the stakes are just so high. I'm truly worried, especially after these last few issues. The Makers Council is just unbelievably menacing. And who knows how the freaking Ultimates are going to stop them, but I cannot wait to find out. That's how good this book is. It feels like an MCU movie almost. It's just so freaking good. I love it. The Ultimates is fantastic. And I honestly, it just missed the top 5, just because there's just so many. There were so many amazing books this year, and maybe if this book had started a little bit earlier in the year, so there was a few more issues, maybe I would have been able to sneak it into that top 5. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It's in the top 10, and it very much deserves to be. And this is the type of book that I honestly, if someone has it as their number 1 favorite book of the year, I can't blame you whatsoever. It is absolutely fantastic, and it has had some just absolutely stellar issues. Like, every issue is amazing, but it has had some, like issue 4 in particular, that Doom backstory, that was stellar. This issue in particular, issue 6 with the fight with the Hulk, amazing. Like, some beautiful, beautiful comic books. The Ultimates is fantastic. The entire universe is amazing. I think you guys can assume another Ultimate title that is probably going to be on this list here, coming up here soon. So yeah, The Ultimates is just that good. But now, for the top 5. My top 5, Nate Nielsen, Speed Sultan's top 5 comic books of 2024. Kicking off that top 5 at number 5. It's kind of also... it's 2 books, but it's 1 book. You're going to find out. The One Hand and the 6 Fingers. Image Comics. We got Ram V on the one hand. We got Dan Waters on the 6 Fingers. Dude, for those that don't know, this is a cat and mouse serial killer detective story, basically where the One Hand follows the detective and the 6 Fingers follows the serial killer. I remember when they first announced this book, I remember reading the synopsises on Comic Geeks and just thinking, wow, that sounds like an unbelievably cool concept. 2 sister books that get, like, they're following the same story, but you get both 2 different perspectives. I was like, that sounds so cool. If they can execute that, that's going to be fantastic. And I remember reading the first issue of The One Hand because it came out first. And sitting myself down after that and just being like, wow, that was really, really good. If they can pull this off and actually execute this two perspectives book thing, this is going to be amazing. The first issue of Six Fingers comes out, and I'm like, wait a second. I think they're doing this. I think they're executing. And by the end of it, I mean, I was so into the story. I was so excited for each issue to come out. And the fact that they were on alternating schedules, so you didn't necessarily have to wait an entire month, only 2 weeks for the next part of the story because it's alternating. I was so excited, and every single day I was waking up and I was just like trying to think about it because it makes you think. It's so mysterious, like the reasoning behind the killings and everything like that. It's just like, you'll be wondering all the way up until you have the answer. And then even once you get the answer, you're still going to be thinking about it because it's so amazing. The writing is done so unbelievably well. Like, I genuinely don't know if I'll ever read a book like this again, executed this well. Ron V and Dan Waters, if there's any other stories you guys have in mind that are like similar to this and the whole sister story, different perspectives things, please do it because this was amazing. And if anyone is curious whatsoever about this and you have not read them, The One Hand, The Six Fingers, Image Comics, it's just amazing. But there's a full trade paperback just came out this month, and it collects both. It collects both books, all 12 issues or whatever, because 6 issues for both. And I need to get that trade paperback because I really want to read it in collected format all at once, all together, because it is just so unbelievably good. And I genuinely, before I really sat down and thought about my list for the top 10 books of the year, I thought it was going to be number 1. The whole year I was kind of going on like, that's my book of the year, man. That's my book of the year. I love it so much. That's my book of the year. But then as I sat down and thought about it a little bit more, there was a couple, 4 in particular, that I couldn't put below that but at least The One Hand, Six Fingers is in the top 5. It is one of the best books of the year in my humble opinion. But now for number 4, my 4th favorite book of the year. You guys saw this coming. Some of you guys might have it higher on the list. You might hate on me for having it a little bit lower, but it's still top 5. It's still amazing. Every single one of these books in my top 5 are absolute 10 out of 10. So you can't get too mad at me. Ultimate Spider-Man, baby. I mean, it had to be on this list. If it's not on this list, now that's ridiculous. If it's not, like, I could see a lot of people having it as their number 1 book of the year, and I can't blame you whatsoever. But in my opinion, like I said earlier, in my humble opinion, Ultimate Spider-Man is one of those books that just has to be on your top 10. Otherwise, I personally am a little bit confused on how not. Obviously, not everything is for everyone. Everyone is different. Everyone has different tastes and everything like that. But Ultimate Spider-Man, Jonathan Hickman, Marco Cicchetto, I mean, it's just wow. And especially issue 12. Issue 12 that just came out this week as I'm filming this, the final issue of the year, the Christmas issue, was amazing. And Hickman was just straight flexing on us with his writing ability and everything like that. Dude's writing a family drama in that issue. Like, Ultimate Spider-Man is just, it is amazing. It is everything we've wanted as Spider-Man fans for Peter. He's grown, he has a family, he's happy, he has the responsibility, and then he gets the powers. And it's just, and they're executing it perfectly. Every single time the book comes out, it's one of the best books of the month. Every single time, consistently. It's genuinely, in my opinion, one of the best Spider-Man runs in years. It's so unbelievably good. It's going to go down in the history books. There's a reason it's as hyped as it is, and there's a reason it goes, like, issues number 1s and stuff like that go for as much as they do. It's all justified. The book is absolutely fantastic. And like I said, if it's your number 1 book of the year, I can't blame you at all. Like, all these books are my number 1 book of the year. I just have to order them, unfortunately. But Ultimate Spider-Man, I mean, wow, is all I really have to say. That's for you, Hickman and Cicchetto. That's for you. But now, it's time for a top 3. There can only be 3, and this was impossible. Ultimate Spider-Man and my 3rd book were pretty interchangeable. Ultimate Spider-Man easily could have been my number 3 and been in that top 3. But at my number 3, I personally, on a personal level, I really, really, really love the book. It was neck and neck with Ultimate Spider-Man, which one to put at 3 and 4. So ultimately, I just had to go with this one at 3 because it is my guy. I think maybe some of y'all know what's coming. Spider-Boy, baby. I don't care what anyone says. Spider-Boy is absolutely fantastic. I understand it might not be for everyone, but it is 100% for me. I think Dan Slott uses the comic book medium perfectly here. I think there is multiple issues in the whole series in general, but there are multiple specific issues that you can read, and it is just like, yes, this is why comic books were made. The Puzzle Man issue in particular, when I was reading that, I could just picture myself being a child, grabbing some pens and markers and just absolutely going ham on that thing. Like, this is an amazing use of the medium. It's so much fun. Bailey Briggs is an amazing new character. I love him. He's easily becoming one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, and I'm not even messing around with that. It's just such an amazing run. Dan Slott is killing it. I have nothing but good things to say about it. Not only is his power set unique, but just he's unique and he's so young. And like I was saying earlier, his power set is different, so he has like monstered out modes and everything like that. I love Spider-Boy so much. I think the book is able to be read by all ages. It's definitely marketed towards the younger crowd and towards the kids and everything like that, which is good because we need more kids to read comic books. And but it's got deeper tones and messages and things that kids wouldn't understand that adults would. I mean, like the entire first arc and the way this dude was created is because there's a mad scientist who takes humans and animals and splices them together and has them work for her on her farm as freaking human animal slaves. Like, that's extremely dark. Like, that is messed up and disturbing. But as kids, kids reading it are just going to be like, oh, animal bad guys, Madame Monstrosity, she's evil. But like, as an adult, you could read this and be like, what the hell is going on here? This is extremely messed up. So yeah, like, it's just amazing. It's for all readers. It's for all ages. And it just makes me feel like a kid reading Spider-Man again. He's young, he's quippy, he's fun, and it's just amazing. And it introduced Toy Soldier this year, which is the best character of 2024. You heard it here first. But yeah, and this is an example of a book that did come out last year, but it came out in October of last year, so we only got 3 issues, and the remainder of the entire of the book has come out this year. So I count it for this. I count it for this year, and even if you want to just not count issues 1, 2, and 3, that's fine with me, because just everything of Spider-Boy that has came out this year is amazing. If you guys want to hate on Spider-Boy, if you want to hate on me for loving Spider-Boy, that's okay. I'm rocking with my boy forever. Spider-Boy, I love you. But now for top 2 books. The top 2 books, these could have been pretty interchangeable, but come the last few issues of my number 1 book, it became pretty apparent that was my number 1 book. But regardless, we'll get to number 1 after we get to number 2, because my number 2 favorite book of the year, of 2024, Transformers, baby. I said there was another, never mind, I was about to say something stupid, or something incorrect. Transformers, issue 9 in my hands right here, my favorite cover from the series. But man, Daniel Warren Johnson is my GOAT. I say a lot of people are my GOATs, but Daniel Warren Johnson is actually my GOAT. I've said this multiple times. He is my favorite comic book creator of all time. So obviously, he's got a book. It's going to be in my top freaking 5. It's going to be my top 3, like I said. For the vast majority of the time this book has been coming out, it was easily my number 1 favorite ongoing. Until number 1 came around, you'll see. But Transformers is amazing. Daniel Warren Johnson is fan-freaking-tastic. I loved the first arc. It was absolutely stellar. I have 0 issues with it whatsoever. It was perfect. And then here comes Jorge Corona for the remainder of everything and for the artwork. And he's just absolutely killing it. Like, I love Jorge Corona. I love Daniel Warren Johnson. To put it in perspective how much I love this book, I did not give a single shit about the Transformers before I read this. I had seen maybe the original Bayverse movies. Like, I saw the first Transformer or 2, the ones with Shia and Mega Fox. Those are the only ones I've seen. I've literally never seen another Transformers show or movie or anything like that. I just did not care. I didn't care for him. I didn't hate on him or anything like that. I was just like, I don't really care. It's not really for me, I guess. Now I can firmly say I freaking love the Transformers. Optimus Prime, goated. Beachcomber? Beachcomber is my guy, dog. Transformers is amazing. If that doesn't show you how much this book is, or just how great this book is and how amazing Daniel Warren Johnson is, he made me care about something. He made me love something that I literally could care less about. Transformers, it's amazing. Every single Daniel Warren Johnson book is like this, so this one obviously is included. It's so much heart. so epic, grand, epic proportions, amazing, epic, badass stories with just so much heart, filled with heart, amazing character moments. The slice of life moments are on point. Daniel Warren Johnson can do no wrong. Transformers is absolutely fantastic. And yes, similar to Spider-Boy, the first few issues did release late last year, but the majority of the book has come out this year, so that's why it is included on this list. And yeah, like I said, for the majority of the time the book was releasing, it was my favorite ongoing, and until this one came around. This one right here, I mean, it's my number one favorite book of the year. It's my favorite ongoing. It's what I think is personally the best book on shelves right now. If there was only one current ongoing book that you should be picking up, in my opinion, this is it. My favorite book of 2024 is Rook Exodus, man. Oh my God. I told you Ghost Machine was going to have another book later, and it was the number one book. Jeff Johns, Jason Fabok, Brad Anderson, Rob Lay. I'm speechless about this book. I mean, the first issue, I remember reading the first issue and just being like, what the fuck? Is this a movie? Like, I felt like I was watching a movie. I instantly was like, yeah, I need this to be a movie yesterday. Like, the concept is so cool. It follows a man who travels to, basically Earth died, and they got to go to a different Earth. They go to a different Earth, and there's this company called Exodus who runs the Earth and everything like that. And they have this thing called a world engine, and they can control all natural occurrences pretty much. So like they can control the weather. They wear these helmets. The wardens wear these helmets that connect them to an animal species so that they can communicate and control specific species. And then basically, long story short, now that world is dying. The Exodus and all the people are fled, and they left the wardens to fend for themselves on a dying planet. They either fight to save it, or they escape, or they try to escape the planet and everything like that. It's so freaking cool. It follows Rook, who is the warden of crows and stuff like that, and rooks. So it's so freaking good. It's so exciting. Jeff Johns wrote an unbelievably riveting story, and Jason Fabok. I mean, there's nothing bad you can say about Jason Fabok. I mean, his artwork is unbelievable. I will wait as long as it takes him to draw, because it does not matter. It is absolutely stellar every singular time. Rook Exodus, my favorite book of the year. We're officially the first arc started and ended this year. We're getting the start of the next arc at the beginning. I think maybe February. I don't know. Early 2025. We're getting the next. I think it's issue 7, the beginning of the next arc. But I genuinely, of all, Ghost Machine in particular is absolutely fantastic. Every single release from them has been amazing. But Rook Exodus is the one above all, in my opinion. I really, really hope that one day it gets a movie or a TV show or something like that, because it is so freaking good. I'm just going to sit here rambling about how good it is. It's my favorite book of the year. It doesn't get much better than this, y'all. If you aren't reading Rook Exodus for some reason, what the hell are you doing? Go to your comic book store, find the preprints, find everything like that. Trades should be coming out soon, I would hope. But Rook Exodus is my favorite book of the year. Doesn't get better than this, y'all. But there we go. That is my top 10 books of 2024. We kind of maybe have like 13 books in here because of the absolute stuff, but doesn't count. These are my favorite books of the year, y'all. We had an unbelievably awesome year for comic books. It's an amazing time to be a fan. I mean, with Marvel's Ultimate Universe, DC's Absolute Universe, the Energon Universe, and Ghost Machine all going on at the same time, it is just the perfect time to be a comic book fan. We are eating so good. Speaking of comic books, I'm just going to say the Superman trailer came out today, and I was freaking out like I was 12 years old again. I am so hyped for that. But either way, back to the comic book. Sorry, I just had to say that. Top 10 comic books of the year. Here it is. That's my list. I want to know your guys' list. What are your top 10 books? What are your favorite books of the year and all that kind of stuff? And what books are you guys excited for next year? I think maybe either earlier in the year or later this before the year ends or something. I might make another video kind of with like most anticipated books for 2025. But do not take my word on that, because no guarantees, I guess. But I might do that. But regardless, I gotta quit yapping. These are my top 10 books of the year. I want to know from you guys, what are your top 10 books? Let me know down in the comments and everything like that. But now, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for checking me out, y'all. Per usual, I'm gonna be a broken record on this channel. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. We're building the best community on YouTube, in comic talk, in comic book industry. We're building the best community, y'all. You guys are the best. I don't know what else to say other than Rook Exodus is freaking gas. Go pick it up. And yeah, let me know your guys' favorite book of the year. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out. Bye.